You are checking out a new RCWR show coming at you for Friday night, April 10th, 2020. What is going on, guys? Yes, we're here on a Friday night, TGIF. I hope your weekend is off to a very good start. Mine is definitely going off to a good start. I can't really complain. As always, appreciate you guys make time when you're joining us live or you happen to be checking out the show on demand and on the downloads. Appreciate that. Speaking of on demand and on the downloads, was taking a look at the YouTube analytics, and I like what I'm seeing. Business is good. Business is booming. It's really fantastic. Everything is up. It's just up. Everything is just so phenomenal. Everything is up. It's great. It's booming. But no, seriously, everything's doing really good. I can't really complain. I believe I had said, hey, let's see if before the end of May, if we can hit 11,750 subscribers on YouTube, and we're already at 11,734, I believe it is. So we've been seeing a nice good flux of subscribers coming in the past several weeks on YouTube. So I do appreciate you guys that go out of your way, check out the content. All I gotta say, keep it rocking, keep it rolling. Hopefully we can get that 11,750 before. Honestly, I think with this being April, that's a realistic goal. We should be able to crack that before the end of April. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so we got a fun show tonight. And you know, hey, as far as the podcast on demand goes, numbers continue to be steady. So everything's good. Loving it. So tonight's show, we're going to do a little bit similar to what we had did Monday night. Remember, Monday night show ran for about an hour, 15 minutes. We're going to literally do the same thing with this show. Some of you guys may want a longer show. I'm going to have to work my way to it. Y'all got to bear with me because my new work schedule, it's kind of getting the best of me, but not like when it was when I was dealing with security a couple of years ago, if you guys recall, because the show content when I was doing security a couple of years back, I mean, you might as well say the show was on hiatus during that period because those 6 months were woof. That's all I got to say. But no, I can't complain with the new gig. Just to recap for those of you that maybe haven't checked in a while, I had to pick up a second gig because the first gig, the hours are just so scarce now. And it's really rough. I'm sure you guys definitely know how it is dealing with everything that's going on with this pandemic and how it's affected work. And unless you are a essential worker, unless the industry that you're in is essential to the industry, then you pretty much got to shut down. So for me, in the almost past 10 years that I've been dealing in market research, there's been a little bit of downtime here and there, but it's never been as bad as where it is right now. And it's really unfortunate because, and this is a true story, literally yesterday, I was in touch with my supervisor and I said, hey, there was a mix-up with my schedule from the second gig for Friday. They didn't honor the fact that between such and such time to such and such time, I'm pretty much available for you guys. So I'm going to have to work for them. And my boss hit me back and she said, no, honey, it is okay because work has just been so slow up here. We now have to refer any free work to the long-time employees, basically those that are salary. I'm hourly, but the full-time cats, they basically are salaries. So I've only worked for the first job one time this week. Ain't that something? One time this week. And it's remote from home. And I've only worked for them one time this week. Thank God the second gig, which is essential, has just been, 1 hour. Here you go. So that's been great. And I don't know, I was telling the missus the other day, I said, well, the way I've done my math, even at the bare minimum, if the first job can only have me come in but X amount of days, well, this will equal this. And hey, that's okay because that can just be added on top of the other job and everything still balances out. I'm still making a nice, good profit. But let me tell you something. If that keeps happening with the first job, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think I might have to have a different conversation. And it's time that you and I part ways. I might have to have that kind of conversation. We'll see what happens. But I tell you, it's been interesting being an essential worker. And I really haven't had a chance to really talk about this. And I think I'll probably talk about this a lot more when we do Wrestling with the Topics. That's usually hosted by me and Tammy. And she is up for another. She actually was going to do the show tonight, but she's been pretty busy all day doing a lot of cleaning around the house. And I said to her, I said, don't worry about the show. Don't worry about the show tonight. I got this. I'm cool. Just kick back. Take it easy. I'm good. But I will get her on a Wrestling with the Topics. I'm just not sure if that's going to be a Patreon exclusive or what, because it's April 10th and we are Patreon members some content. So I'll let you guys know on social media how we're going to be doing it and everything. But the one thing that I will say that, and I'll elaborate more when me and her are doing the show, it's been interesting being part of the front line and being an essential worker, because my God, I can't tell you how many people I have come up to me and say, oh my God, I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this. Without you providing the service that you're providing, we'd be fucked. Like, hey, I appreciate that, but really, thank you. Thank you for coming out here. And because I feel it's a mutual thing. I try to thank them instead, but they go, no. Really, you guys, you are what's making it happen right now. Really appreciate you guys, because really, we'd be fucked. It's like, oh, yeah, well, hey, thank you. Appreciate the kind words and everything. So everybody is just so freaking laid back, so respectful, and it's just taking me back. It's really taking me back. And I was telling the missus, I said, it's so amazing how nice everybody is right now. It's crazy. I have to pinch myself and go, is this real? Because it doesn't quite feel that way. But one thing that has been pretty alarming, I don't know how it is in you all's respected neck of the woods, but here in the United States, particularly here in the DC, Virginia, Maryland area, we've got it really bad with the coronavirus. It's really, really bad. Maryland cases, I think if it hasn't cracked 7,000 yet, it damn near is there, because literally the other day, I believe it was at about 6,000, maybe almost 500. And so when you look at the whole DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, the cases for coronavirus in Maryland, I mean, whew, talk about really rough. DC has it pretty bad as well. Virginia is bad. Even when you look towards West Virginia, you go, oh, West Virginia, okay. They're not even in the hundreds. And now West Virginia is cracking. I think West Virginia is now in the 300s. I've got to double check. But just when you think, all right, this is where we are, it seems that as the days progress, the numbers just jump drastically depending on what part in the region. So if it's Maryland, it looks as though it jumps about 300 to 500. If it's DC, it's dropping about, or it's going up, both cases in both states. In DC, it's going up by about the same number. West Virginia, it's going up by just maybe about 20 to 40. So it's weird how it fluctuates around the whole region, but it's crazy over here because now we're getting, again, and I don't know how it is in y'all's neck of the woods. Y'all got to let me know how it is, but over here, they're now making it basically law. You have to be running around. If you're going to be going out in public, you've got to wear a mask. You have to, especially if you are a essential worker like I am. It's like you have to wear a mask. Anybody that is basically a customer trying to buy goods or trying to tap into services from essential workers, they have to wear a mask. And failure to comply can result in some fines and some other stuff. So it's really crazy what's going on right now. I'm really hoping that better days are truly ahead from what everybody is predicting right now, but it's just been crazy seeing everything that's been happening so far. But hey, if you're here, you're either watching me or you're listening to me, hopefully your family is okay, you're okay, most importantly, and somehow we're all going to be able to get through this together. But one of the best things we can do right now, if we can help it, is stay the fuck at home. That's really the best thing we can do right now. So we're going to talk a little bit about SmackDown. We'll definitely talk a little bit about headlines. I know earlier today, Revival were granted their release from the WWE. I'll definitely shed a little bit of thoughts on that whole ordeal. And a couple more little tidbits we can go into. Like I said, it's going to be, appreciate this little bit of banter right now, because again, it's going to be a short show. But if there's a particular topic you want me to maybe dive into, or you got a question you want to throw my way, wrestling or non-wrestling related, you can definitely interact. I've got a chat via YouTube. You can interact in there. Otherwise, just kick back, relax, enjoy that nice, tall, cool one, and we'll definitely have fun with the show tonight. I have a poll right now asking you guys, what did you think about tonight's SmackDown? You've got one poll on YouTube, and you have another poll on Twitter. And I can tell you right now, and we'll come back to it a little bit later on in the show here, but right now, looking at the early results via YouTube. Now, look, if you've got both mediums, just pick one. You don't need to spam out. Just pick one, stay there. You'd be surprised how many people in 2020 don't have Twitter. But over on YouTube, ask you guys, what did you think about SmackDown tonight? And I'm seeing a thumbs down, and I'm a little taken back by that. Really am. A little bit. Surely that's trolling. That's got to be trolling. Meanwhile, over on Twitter, I am seeing 66.7% of you guys are giving SmackDown a thumbs up. Meanwhile, there is 33.3% of you that are giving it a thumbs down. Look, did it have that post-WrestleMania feel much like Raw? No, it did not. But in these times right now, we got to find some form of entertainment to kind of take our mind off of all the other stuff that's going on, be it in our personal lives or somebody that we're connected to, or just in general, right? So you gotta take the form of entertainment as you can get it. But to kind of follow up on what I had touched upon on Monday night, how the Raw after Mania did not really have that Mania feel to it, SmackDown did not essentially have that feeling as well. Although, as far as a major bright spot goes, I definitely got to say, the end segment there with Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, oh, I ate that up. I was glued to the TV. I remember when I was seeing that whole segment play out, I stopped what I was doing, and I'm just going, okay, so we're going to go off. Last thing we're going to see is Braun Strowman holding up the championship up high. And all right, cool. Braun Strowman, great. He's reigning supreme. Can anybody stop this juggernaut force of a man? This man of a man. He's a man's man. Can anybody stop this dude? I thought we were going to go off like that. Cute little SmackDown copyright 2020 logo in the lower left-hand corner. Time for your local news. No, we get Bray Wyatt interrupting, having a few words, and I loved it. It's been so long since the two of those guys were a cohesive unit. It's not like it's been 10 years or anything like that, but at the same time, I totally forgot that they were a stable. I totally forgot about it. It didn't click in my head until I heard the Firefly music and everything pop up. And I was like, oh yeah. And just seeing how they were interacting with each other, I loved it. I love seeing Bray Wyatt say the Braun Strowman, do you think he's learned his lesson? And he's asking the puppets if they think that Braun has learned his lesson. And they don't really think he has. Bray's trying to forgive him, but he's kind of feeding off of the puppets, except Ramblin' Rabbit. You notice with Ramblin' Rabbit is the coolest fucking of all the puppets. He is the coolest motherfucker. He likes everybody. He has got to be the most, and I don't really see enough people really give Rambling Rabbit a lot of credit. So let me really go there. But do you ever notice, I'm asking everybody, do you ever notice how rational Rambling Rabbit always is to whoever the opponent is that Bray Wyatt / The Fiend has their eyes set on? He is always the one that goes, oh man, but he's so cool. I love him. He's one of my favorites. It's like, Rambling Rabbit, who do you not like? Is there anybody that you don't like? He almost kind of reminds me of, Booker T and his Fave 5. Booker T always has, it's like, who isn't your Fave 5, Book? Or Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley always rides the coattails off of whatever team looks like they're doing pretty good in the NBA. I told you, Ernie. I told you they was going. It's like, you ain't saying a goddamn thing, you turncoat. But I just think it's pretty cool that Rambling Rabbit is just always, dude, I'm your biggest fan, dude. And usually that gets him in some hot water. Does it not? It usually gets him in hot water. But I like Bray Wyatt's interaction with Braun Strowman. That was actually really fucking badass how they intertwined there. Now that we've got John Cena out of the way, now that we've got old man Bill Goldberg out of the way, now it can be about the guys that's currently on the roster right now, that's there, putting in the time, putting in the energy and the effort on a day-to-day basis and everything, especially those that's willing to come out and work for our entertainment, risking their health and everything. Obviously, they're doing the whole self-quarantine afterwards and everything, and they're getting checked out by WWE and everything, yada, 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 but I love the fact that we're going to get this matchup now between Bray and Strowman. I think it's going to be a really good matchup. The storyline that they set forth there, I'm eating it up. And you notice how Braun Strowman, and I'm very curious how this is going to continue to map out over the course of a couple of weeks here, because I need for them to peel off what Braun Strowman is thinking with regards to an eventual matchup with Bray Wyatt, because obviously one of the questions is going to be that you have to ask yourself, but then you got to think about in a storyline and how they're possibly going to address it. I'm already thinking, okay, but Braun, all due respect, it's been a couple of years since you were last aligned with Bray Wyatt. Yeah, you have an idea of how sadistic and menacing this guy can be and everything, but have you ever in your wildest dreams thought of dealing with Bray Wyatt in this type of capacity, to see where he is now, tapping into this Fiend persona? Does this take you back a little bit? Is this something that you've always anticipated? Yeah, I need to see those type of unravelings of thinking from Braun Strowman, because what I saw of Braun tonight, and it was actually really good, I'm not knocking it, but I love the fact that here we've got this very confident champion that's basically saying, I will not falter. You do not intimidate me. You do not scare me whatsoever. If I gotta take you on, I'm gonna take you on. Basically Braun Strowman saying to Bray Wyatt, oh, no, cut that music off. Oh, no. Hey, anytime you want a title shot, man, I'm right here. Just come see me. I'm right here. Bye. So I need to see more of what Braun's thinking is going into a potential matchup and everything. This is where you really got to start unraveling his connection to Bray, and but I love it. I'm eating it up. I'm loving it. I can't wait to see what they're going to be able to do. I hope that as early as Money in the Bank, we're going to see these guys lock it up. I really hope we're able to see it. But if they want to kind of milk this out for a little bit, man, time's on their side when it's all said and done. Hey, also tonight, just like on Monday Night Raw, we had Saw the NXT callings for a few cats. We did get a NXT calling of the Forgotten Sons. I gotta be honest with you. I really do. And they were in action against the Lucha House Party. They picked up the win. You know, it was okay. It was okay. It was alright. But the Forgotten Sons got the call up to SmackDown. See, I'm a bit biased here. And let me tell you why I'm a bit biased when it comes to the Forgotten Sons. Anybody that's been a long time listener knows this. They know exactly what I'm getting ready to say. But I'm a long time fan and supporter of Steve Cutler. And Steve Cutler, you guys will probably know him a little bit better under a different name, which is, God, what was his name? The name's on the tip of my tongue right now, and I'm having a hard time picturing it. Chad Lil, who you guys know better as Gunner in TNA/Impact Wrestling. So I've been or actually, you know what? I called him by the wrong name from NXT, did I not? I apologize about that. No, under NXT, his name is Jason Riker. So kind of like Will Riker, basically. So I'm a big fan of his. And I know you guys probably don't see it right now. I don't blame you guys that's taking a massive dump on the Forgotten Sons and everything. I get it. I hear you guys tremendously. But for me, big fan of Chad, aka Jason Riker. Big fan of his from the TNA days. I took one look at that guy and I said, that guy is fucking money. He's got a quiet intensity that is about him. He's kind of menacing. I know, and here's the sad part. When I look at a guy like Jason Riker. When I was watching him in Impact Wrestling, I know the latest craze right now is everybody is going Killer Cross. And he's badass. Don't get me wrong. He is badass. I'm not taking that away from the man. And by the way, that reminds me, I still got the shoot interview that I got to sit down. My God, if I were to show you the amount of shoots that I have yet to watch and wrestling DVDs I have yet to watch that are still in shrink wrap, just the names alone, you guys would be going, Lee, what the fuck, dude? Do you need some help? Send me it. I'll watch it. Let's do a watch along. I'm sure some of you guys would say that. But Jason Riker, before everybody was going Killer Cross. For me, I felt that Jason Riker was a guy that you need to have your eyes on him because this guy is definitely going places. And I still feel that way. You know, yeah, he's a little bit older now and everything, but I still feel that way. And for me, when I heard that he finally had signed a WWE contract, I was on cloud nine for the man because I felt that if anybody deserved it, it was definitely him. Because I saw a lot of great potential in him, and I still see a lot of great potential in him. It's just that with him being in this stable of the Forgotten Sons, it's flatlining. I hate to say that, but even I, as big of a fan I am of Chad's, Gunners, Rikers, even I can tell you that what's going on right now with the Forgotten Sons, it's not really going anywhere. You know, honestly, for me, it's really felt as though it's bringing his overall stock down. And I saw enough of the Forgotten Sons in NXT to be able to tell you, you know, yeah, they're a nice little tag team and everything. You know, they're a nice little trio, but there's not enough. And maybe, I'm going out on a limb here, but maybe SmackDown writers can flush these guys out more, even though I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe they can flush these guys out more and have more personalities come out of them, something that we all can tap into. But as it stands right now, there's not much to be desired. I really hate to say that. I really do. But if I gotta be truly unbiased and really plead my case here, that's what's going on. That's how I'm seeing it. And I don't like saying that. I don't, because again, I'm a big fan of Chad's and everything. I'm calling him by his real name, Jason Riker, Gunner. I'm calling him by his real name. But I'm a little frustrated, but we'll see what happens. I wish that under different circumstances, I wish that it was him up as a solo act and the other two guys were just entirely repackaged and everything. But because he's got more of an interesting story, does Riker. Much like how we all want for Lacey Evans to ditch the whole, as I've been dubbing it, the foghorn leghorn gimmick. And, I do declare, hi y'all, like some sweet lemon iced tea and some homemade biscuits from scratch. Every time I look at her, that's just how I picture her. But many of us, including myself, want to see that Southern fried chicken gimmick get canned and see her military background come up and everything. When you look up Riker's background, here's a man that actually served in the Iraq War. And that's something that you can really, well, wait a minute now. That's something you can really tap into and flush out and kind of build from there and everything. And, decorated career as far as being a journeyman and all that, because this guy has 37 years of age. This guy has pretty much been at it since, my God, he's been at it since the early 2000s. I want to say around 2001, 2002 that he's been at it. So, for you fans that are not really feeling what you're seeing of them right now, I would just say, especially if you're not really familiar with what Riker had did in Impact Wrestling, a few other promotions, I would say go out of your way and see what was going on with him in the other promotions. He actually had some pretty good moments in TNA. I'll definitely admit that. He had some pretty good moments. Gunner and Murphy definitely comes to mind. That's just one little thing I'll talk about, but tease a little bit, but that's really it. What else? I don't think there was anybody else that had popped up as far as NXT call-ups tonight for SmackDown. I think that pretty much was it. Some other quick notes. Miz and Morrison, they had an entertaining segment. I actually had enjoyed that. They did a little bit of a recap on key moments from SmackDown. A lot of swagger, a lot of charisma. Was enjoying that. Dolph Ziggler defeated Tucker. Is what it is. Also, Dana and Carmella, they challenged Nikki and Bliss for a shot at the tag team titles. They accepted, so that's going to be going down, I believe, next week. Also, next week, we're going to be seeing Naomi. Naomi is going to be in action against Dana Brooke. It's going to be a Money in the Bank qualifier match. For the men's side, there is going to be a Money in the Bank qualifier match. That one, we're going to see Daniel Bryan take on Cesaro. Again, Daniel Bryan will be taking on Cesaro. Also on next week's SmackDown, Miz will be facing Big E. Also, Jey Uso. Again, Miz versus Big E versus Jey Uso for the tag titles. You heard me right. So kind of technically a WrestleMania rematch. Also, we got a little bit of a retrospective look on the highlight careers, origins as well of Jeff Hardy, as Jeff Hardy is going to be coming back to SmackDown in the coming weeks. I'm hoping that at this point, Jeff Hardy, because he's 100% cleared, he's ready to go. Hopefully he's going to be returning by Money in the Bank. If you want to have some sizzle and, I mean, come on, when you think Money in the Bank, you usually think, oh, ladder, there's going to be some cool spots going around in the ring, all that jazz. So hopefully that's where Jeff Hardy is going to be making his return. And I would actually be pretty down with that. I'm curious to see how WWE is going to handle and book Jeff Hardy this go round. I'm curious, just what exactly, not really short term, but long term, for all those dates that were tacked on to the back end of the contract for, you all already know, I don't need to go over it, but I can't help but wonder long term. So when I say long term, I'm thinking, okay, well, 3 months is nice, but 6 months from now, what's the goal here with Jeff Hardy? And what incentive, if any, are you going to try to throw Jeff Hardy's way to make him stay in WWE as opposed to joining his brother? Because we all know that is a lock. That is a lock. Whenever Jeff is done with WWE, we know that's a lock in AEW. So what is the incentives that WWE is going to try to give Jeff Hardy to make him stay in the company? Unless you're thinking, okay, look, we'll transition you out of being a full-time wrestler. Maybe we'll have you make sporadic appearances here and there, but hey, we want to see you be a trainer, a backstage producer. What exactly is WWE thinking long-term for Jeff Hardy? What are you going to do? What steps are you willing to take to get him to stay in the company? That's the real question right there. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm sure they're going to probably throw everything at him to try and get him to stay. But, Also, Sheamus was in a match. Yeah, if you even want to call it a match, pretty much a squash joint, was taking on Cal Bloom. Cal is the son of Wayne Bloom. That ended in about less than 90 seconds. Not really much there to talk about. Also, Braun Strowman, before he had the, I guess you could say face-to-face, if you want to even call it that, with Bray Wyatt, he did have a match against Shinsuke Nakamura. Braun actually defeated Nakamura. Cesaro was at ringside, was trying to do a little bit of shenanigans outside of the ring. No avail, though. Strowman able to defeat Shinsuke Nakamura. So when you really break down the matches that we had tonight, not really much that was there. By the way, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, they did successfully defend their women's titles against the Kabuki Warriors in the WrestleMania rematch. Kind of good from what they did on WrestleMania night. Actually, was pretty good. And other than that, also next week, Sonya is going to try to clear the air a little bit on some of what she feels have been discrepancies about her involvement in sabotaging the date that Mandy was supposed to have with Otis. How will Mandy respond? Most importantly, how will Mustafa Ali interfere in this with his version of GTV or whatever the hell you want to call it? How's he gonna play a role in that? Have to wait and see. But yeah, SmackDown, not really much as far as the matches go. I know on Monday Night Raw, I think we hit double digits, if I'm not mistaken, for matches that we got on Raw this week. With SmackDown, I'm actually looking at it right now, and with SmackDown, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches, but if you want to get technical, really 3 matches. Because if we're going to say, well, wait a minute, them 90-second joints, not really a match. I would agree with that. Also in 2 weeks, the 25th anniversary celebration of the game Triple H. It all begins on SmackDown, and you're kind of led to believe it's going to continue on to Monday Night Raw. So look for that in 2 weeks. It'll all kick off on SmackDown. So that should be pretty damn good. I'm actually looking forward to that. 25 years. My God. I can't believe how much time has passed. And for me, I think leading up to it, I think something cool that we'll do over the course of the next 2 weeks, we'll begin it effectively on this coming Monday's RCWR show. I will personally look at see how we can map this out, because I want to do it in a way where, and we can. So what I want to do is I want to pick a handful of moments on Monday's show, the Wednesday show. Everything will lead up to the 25th anniversary of Triple H on SmackDown. I'll pick a handful of maybe greatest matches, maybe storylines. It'd be kind of nice to go down memory lane and everything, and give you guys a little bit of perspective on perhaps where I was when I saw this particular segment go down, or this moment happen, or this match. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool to do. So we'll do that. We'll kick that off next Monday for you guys. So that'll be fun. And feel free to share with me when we get ready to do that. Feel free to share with me all throughout social media some of your favorite Triple H moments. That should be pretty cool, yeah? So other than that, there's really nothing else for me to talk about with regards to SmackDown this week. A so-so episode. I don't agree with the thumbs down. I would just say it was a so-so episode. It definitely did not have that WrestleMania after effect to it. Under the circumstances, I would like to believe that if things could be drastically different and we didn't have this pandemic that's going on right now, it would definitely be a lot different. For sure, it would be a lot different, and we probably would have some really cool surprises in store and everything. But take it for what it's worth. It is what it is. But I'll give it a respected thumbs up. Let's one more time go to the polls here. See what you guys are saying on Twitter and on YouTube. YouTube, we got the communities tab. Click on that. YouTube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab and you can cast a vote that way. So I am still seeing we're at about 67% on Twitter giving it a thumbs up, and we got 33% giving it a thumbs down. Meanwhile, let's see what's going on via YouTube here. YouTube, I would suspect we're probably at about the same. So let's see what happens here. And I apologize to you guys for the weird scheduling that's been happening this week, by the way. So we got a 50-50 split on YouTube. Yeah, the scheduling for this week, it's been a little weird because, true story, we're going to be coming on live this past Wednesday night. And once again, I have forgot to record AEW Dynamite and NXT. So I was completely in the dark. And my girl was going, "You going to pull an audible? What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, it doesn't make sense to do a Wednesday night show." And I didn't even watch the damn two shows. So she said, "Okay, right now, set your DVR so you don't forget." I'm like, "Okay." And she goes, "And I'll remind you to check the DVR before you go to work. Make sure the shows are recorded." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So now I have the DVR set. I know, right? We had this problem last week. And I kept remembering, don't forget to set the DVR. And I just kept getting sidetracked. So there was supposed to be a show Wednesday night, but it didn't happen. And then Thursday night, you saw the post I put out. I said Thursday night, hey, we're going to do a show. And then I came in from work late Thursday night because I worked a little tiny bit of OT, and it was I'm pretty exhausted. I can't quite, and I was actually behind on some stuff I had meant to watch to talk about on the show, and so that's how we got to Friday night, doing the show Friday night. So as you guys saw, we came on time for Monday night and everything. Just give me the rest of this week. I'm gonna still kind of fine tuning it. It was really weird because on the one hand, the hours that I'm working, it's great, but when I'm done, I'm feeling just a bit physically drained. I don't feel completely physically defeated, but I do feel as though I don't want to do anything else. So it's taken me a little bit to get used to the new schedule, but the hours are phenomenal as far as when I work and everything. Just when it feels as though it's starting to sting physically, it's time for me to roll out. But we're definitely going to be okay for this coming week. The other problem that I had too, the new job during the first week I was working, they were not honoring my work schedule because these days I just don't know what's going on with that first job. Kind of going back to what I was talking about earlier with that first job, I'm leaving myself open for a particular block of time so that if they need me to do something for them remote, I can be of assistance and I can help them out for a few hours and everything. So that wasn't honored. Well, this week, I should say, this week that I'm in right now, it wasn't honored. So some of those nights this week, it got thrown off a little bit, but now that everybody is on the same page with my schedule and availability, we should be good from here on out. Worst case scenario, it looks like Wednesday nights. You know how you guys are used to me coming on after Dynamite and NXT goes off the air. Worst case scenario, I may not be able to come on until 10:30, maybe a quarter to 11, sadly. So by default, I think what would be more than fair, rather than extend the show late into the night, I think what makes a little bit more sense is, do a 10:30, 10:45 p.m. show. But, if we can help it, maybe do like an hour, 15 minutes. Don't have the show go way past midnight is the point that I'm trying to make. So we'll play around with that. We'll see how it goes. Because, look, let's be honest. A lot of wrestling promotions, some of your favorite wrestling promotions, they're not really doing that much right now. And those that are still doing it, they're giving us a decent amount to talk about. I tried watching Impact Wrestling from this past week, and obviously when you look at the episodes, okay, this is before the pandemic outbreak. Oh, okay. And I gotta tell you, I couldn't even make it past the first 10 minutes of Impact Wrestling. I am beyond everything that had went down with Tessa Blanchard. I'm sure you guys remember the epic week that we had in programming when we were talking about Tessa Blanchard and that whole controversy. Show me with actions, not just words. That's where I'm basically at right now. But from a storyline perspective, it's really hard for me to invest in the product in what they're doing right now with her as the Impact World Heavyweight Champion. And so I'm at a point right now where it's, okay, you know what? I will come back to Impact Wrestling when Tessa is no longer the champion. Maybe then I can sit through the programming and see what's been going on. But I got to tell you, other than when I had tried to check it out last week, a couple of nights ago, there was another period several weeks ago, where I had tried to watch, and I just fast forward. Yeah, I'm done. And for me, the last thing I want to do, if I don't particularly like something, the last thing I want to do, and do to you guys, is come on here and shit on something when I can just, well, wait a minute. Let me go invest in something that does kind of sound cool, looks pretty cool. Everything's rocking and rolling. Put that over, then you feel where I'm coming from. So, yeah, but for you Impact Wrestling fans, sorry. Unless there's something newsworthy that you guys want me to particularly talk about from Impact Wrestling, or something you want me to comment on, give some reactions to, and you're willing to feed me a little bit of, okay, this is what's going on, what do you think? Unless you come at me from that standpoint, I'm not going to be really talking about Impact. If they got a pay-per-view event coming up or whatever, I'll gladly put that over, no problem. All right, let's dive into some headlines. But first, I do want to take this time out, and I do want to do some nice little plugs. I love plugging. It's time to plug. The RCWR show with Lee Sanders is brought to you in part by the good folks behind the movie President Evil. Check them out. They are on Amazon. President Evil is about three young girls that are stalked by a deranged serial killer dressed as the President of the United States. If you love SNL, Real Time with Bill Maher, you love comedy, you love politics, you love the two mixed together. I know a lot of you guys are big George Carlin fans. Check out President Evil. It's on Amazon. And hey, special shout out to the good folks behind President Evil, because we have had a partnership with them for at least the past 6 months, and this is our final week that we are working with them. So, God bless you guys. Awesome teaming up with you all. Happy to have been of assistance, and hopefully we'll be able to collaborate with them again later down the road. But this week marks the end of our commitments to the good folks behind the movie President Evil. So once again, shout out to them for being a sponsor of the RCWR show for all of these months. Also brought to you in part by careyes.com. Eyes spell EYEZ as in zebra. Check them out. Providing a nice, cool, fun, innovative way for you to not only find cars online, but also sell cars online. Check them out. Also, check out my good friend, Screaming Bulls 1 on Twitter. And I actually got to change the text that's in there. He's actually Screaming Bulls Eye 1 on Twitter. Check him out. He makes, and you can see, for those of you that's checking out the webcast right now, that Raven bus and all that other stuff you see in the background there. All that he made from scratch. Now, look, there is nothing wrong with people that want to make custom figures and they take this limb and this limb from this and this limb from that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want some straight up cool looking bus, hit him up. You can find him two ways. You can either type in Screaming Bull's Eye and you can spell out I, or just do the @ Screaming Bulls 1. Put in the actual number 1. Check all of those cool guys out, man. Really cool sponsors. Also, I want to offer you a free trial during this time that we got of lots of free time. If you got lots of free time, you love audio. I know you love audio because you're checking out this show, especially on demand and on the downloads. I'm offering you a free Audible trial, audibletrial.com/RCWR. Again, audibletrial.com/RCWR. When you start this 30-day free trial, check this out. You'll be able to download a free audio book. I know you've been seeing all the praise that Jim Ross's Under the Black Hat has been getting. You can check that out. A lot of praise has been given for the new Young Bucks book, Killing the Business. You'll be able to check that out. Maybe you want to check out Mayor Glenn Jacobs, Kane. Maybe you want to check out his book. Or maybe you need some inspiration from Diamond Dallas Page. Maybe you're not even interested in wrestling. Maybe you want something on music or football. Whatever the case may be. Politics. Whatever the case may be. I'm offering you a free Audible trial. And here's the best part. After the 30 days are over, if you don't like what Audible has to offer, guess what? That Audible book that you downloaded, that is free for you to keep for life. So check them out, audibletrial.com/RCWR show. We'll get into some Patreon shout outs later on in the show. For now, let's talk a little bit more wrestling news and some other stuff. Hey, by the way, before I go any further into the show, I want to give a special congrats on a milestone that some buddies of mine in the podcasting world have accomplished, and rightfully so, because they are oh so good. Oh so good. I got to give a special shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas, Joey Numbers, and John Draper of Wrestling Soup. Congrats to 10 years. 10 years of excellence. 10 years of great laughter. 10 years of being witty. 10 years of truly being insightful. 10 years of being brutally honest. That is phenomenal. Wrestling Soup celebrating officially their 10th anniversary. And I did not get a chance to listen to the full episode yet. I was actually a little bit disappointed because right before I left work, I actually hopped into their Discord. And off and on, I'll actually be in the background having their shows recording just in case there's some type of a technical issue. And then at least they got a backup audio that I could provide them in case something weird happens. And before I left out for work today, I actually was in their Discord and I had my mixer, everything was recording, and I figured, all right, by the time I come back, you're good to go. And my God, I don't know how long they went, but when I came in, I saw that there was 3 hours and 45 minutes. I went to the end and I could tell that there was still a lot more show left. So I don't know exactly how long they went. I have a feeling they went maybe 4 hours and a half or something of that nature. So, but yeah, I only recorded about 3 hours, 45 minutes of the show. But look forward to listening to that before this weekend is out. But 10 years, that is fantastic. Sincerely, congrats, guys. And I can't stress it enough. Not podcasting is not for everybody. It's not. And it's not a case where, when it comes to podcasting, it's not a case of, well, do you have the voice? Do you have the personality? I've always found it to be, are you insightful? Are you insightful? Because if you're insightful and you're engaging, then, and you're consistent, then you can last a good minute. And normally, especially in this day and age, as it was when, I'm sure Mission will tell you, when they began their podcast, any veteran podcaster, including myself, will tell you, going from years past to at present, you've got some podcasts, you'll see them around for the first year. Most podcasts can do about a solid year, but then you'll have podcasts that will be discouraged, and because a lot of them think that money, 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 money. They that's how they're looking at it, and they think that they're going to be an overnight sensation, and that's not how it works. And if you're going into the podcasting game thinking that you're going to make a boatload of money, then you failed from the start. And I can't tell you, I have had clients, because one of the things that I do outside of offering voice work, narration, and all that, I will actually do podcast syndication for folks, get them up and rolling, ready to go and everything. And I'm basically a consultant for them, for a period of time. And for most of the clients that I have worked with, when it has come to putting together a podcast, many of them have been under the impression, okay, well, I'm going to put this podcast together and I'm going to make a boatload of fucking money. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. You are sadly mistaken, my dude. That's not how it works. So, you got some podcasts, they're in it for the wrong reason, is the point that I'm making. And like I said, usually you'll get some podcasts, they'll be able to do 1 year. But then year 2, forget about it. I've always said that golden rule of thumb, if you see that there is a podcast that has been consistent, and when they say they're going to release something, they release it and they're consistent with their scheduling. I've always said that if you still see that same podcast around on the 3-year mark, then they're probably going to be around for the long haul. You could probably definitely count on them being around for year 4, being around for year 5. You could probably see them for that. I got to pause on my thought real quick, because I know that there's a 2-minute delay with regards to the show, and to maximum I'll call you MG. To MG in the chat, yeah, you missed the SmackDown recap already. I would say, because I do have enabled rewind, even though when you're watching the webcast version of the show, we're live. I do have the feature enabled so that you can rewind it back to listen to SmackDown. I would say after the introductions, which is about, maybe about 10 minutes of just shooting the shit. After about the 10-minute mark, that's when I started to get into the SmackDown recap. So you're more than welcome to rewind to hear how everything had played out. But we have passed that topic of SmackDown a long time ago, my friend. But the train of thought that I just had before I forget there. Yeah, if you see a podcast that's around from the 3-year mark on, usually that's a good sign that they're going to be around definitely the 4-year mark, 5-year mark. Very seldom will you hear of podcasts that have accomplished 10 years. That's a great feature in itself. That tells you dedication. That tells you dedication on so many levels. That tells you dedication to the podcast. That tells you dedication to the craft. That tells you, most importantly, dedication to the listeners. So once again, congrats to Wrestling Soup. And I was kind of thinking earlier today, I said, wow, we're quietly hitting our own milestone this year and next. This November will mark year 9 of when I started the show, when I started doing podcasting, but particularly when I started this show. And yeah, because we started in November of 2011. And then next year for me will be my 10th anniversary. So I've already got the gears in motion as far as who all I would like to celebrate that 10th anniversary with when we get ready to do that episode. A lot of fun, cool people that I can think of that definitely I'm sure would be pretty down, would come in on board and helping me celebrate 10 years. So get into some more little tidbits of little wrestling news here and some non-wrestling related news. I haven't forgotten about the revival. We'll talk about that in a hot second. I can actually spend a couple of minutes talking about that, so listen, that's a good juicy topic. We'll come back to that in a hot second. XFL, in case you guys did not hear about it, the XFL, they have laid off all employees. You heard me right. They laid off all employees this week. They have suspended all operations. So that is officially it for the XFL. Quite sadly to hear. Honestly, and it's really sad. It's really sad because let me break it down like this. It was interesting how right before the XFL had launched, I'm sure you guys saw the same thing I did too, all throughout social media and on forums. But you had people that were hoping, wishing for the demise of the XFL this second go round before it even launched. And you're going, dudes, come on now. You don't think they've learned from the past? They've had all this time to go in and really fine tune this. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what's going on. And I remember even being on this show. I want to say it was either week 1 or week 2. I remember being on this show and how I shared my experience just talking about the games, and one person was just poo-pooing all on it, looked at his timeline, and he didn't even watch one fucking game. And it's one thing if you watch the games and you go, yeah, I watched them and here's my problem. And it's not just you poo-pooing on it, it's you literally going, okay, this is my gripe. This is what's going on. But it was funny seeing all the amount of negativity that was in the air for the XFL. But then when week 1 hit, so many people became a big fan of the XFL. And then it was the people that were the naysayers, the people that were full of doubt once they heard all the positive news, all the positive feedback from the fans that saw week 1, it was, okay, well, let me see what's going on. And then by week 2, it, hey, yeah, blah, that is good, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. So XFL was, they were really making some good strides, is the point that I'm making. They really had turned a page, I felt. And it sucks that this pandemic took them out. It really does. Because I felt that they were building such a loyal fan base by the week. And this is not a time where, and I shouldn't have to say this, but you'd be surprised how many people actually said this online in forums. But there's actually people that were joyful that the XFL is no more. Because for some people, oh, there's only one real football, and it's called the NFL. Get that weak, fake shit out of here. Yeah, and the last thing I would say this to anybody, the last thing that one should do is be glad that somebody is out of work. Be glad that something is not around anymore. You know, be glad under those circumstances when something is not connected to a pandemic. That's my whole message. That's my whole message. But then even a step further than that, pandemic or not, I'm sorry, but if I'm not liking something, the last thing I'm going to do is wish ill will towards the people involved with that promotion, that employer. That's just wrong on so many levels. If it's not for me, then it's not for me, and I'm just going to go watch something else. It kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier with Impact Wrestling and all that. So, you know, when you really think about it, and think about the domino effect. And see, this is the thing. You're not really going to get this type of insight from other shows in the way this is being broken down. But stop and think about this for a second. The XFL was putting so many people to work. Think about it for a second. It wasn't just putting football players to work. Players that, let's be honest. And by the way, for everybody that kept going, oh, the XFL, the players there, yeah, they're just fucking losers. Da, da, da. No, not so much. Maybe for most of these players, it was a case where they were injury prone. And they felt that they just kept getting a bad break. And when it counted the most, as far as their NFL dreams go, it didn't come to fruition because they were injury prone. That was the tag that they were given. And they wanted to prove, no, I just had a bad break. I'm 100% healthy. Everything's checked out now. For other players, maybe they were problematic. Maybe they were players that had some pretty bad reps, and as a result of that, you know, reputation does travel far. So these players really trying to, hey, I know what's been said about me over the years. I'm really trying to change. I've changed over the years. I really want for people to give me a second look. I really want for people to give me a second chance. They'll see for themselves. I'm nowhere near that person that was last in the league, or fill in the blanks. And then for other players, maybe they were too short. Maybe they were told that, hey, yeah, you're good, but you're too short. A lot of players, when we were on this show weeks back, a lot of players got picked up by the NFL from the XFL. So let that tell you a little something. It's not all that, you know, some folks were making it out to be. But stop and think for a minute. The XFL, so in general, you got one category. You got players. You got another category when you look at management. Management can consist of, you get it. You get it. It can consist of your coaches, your defense, your coordinators. These were probably people that had exhausted many opportunities, be it on a college level, be it on a professional level. And sadly, you know, that's it for them. You know, they're all out. Well, XFL provided another opportunity for them to show, hey, I still got it. I still have a lot that I can offer to college and to the NFL. What's up? So it was an opportunity for them, and then for some people, something to do, some extra money on the side for a couple of weeks, and then go back to the regular job. You also had those that were in broadcasting. All people affiliated with broadcasting, that includes media. And then from there, go to security. People in security. You know, for a lot of security companies, especially when it comes to events and everything, some of those people that work in security, they only work when there's an event happening at a particular arena. I know my mom, many years back, there was one security company she used to work for. I think it was with I think it was CES. I think that was the name of the security company. But there would be one security company that she would work with, and the only time she worked was when there was an event happening at the Verizon Center. And when there wasn't anything happening at the Verizon Center, then it was, okay, well, is there anybody in the DMV that's doing a little something that's metro accessible, that because she wasn't driving? And so she spent many times, I could remember weeks, not doing anything security-wise. And that got old for her real quick. She had to find some steady, consistent money because she had bills to pay and everything. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about that's done that type of security work. So you think about security. You also think about the bars, restaurants that benefit from the XFL, you know, much like with MLB, NBA, NFL, you get it. So, not to drag this out, but you get the point when you really stop and you think about the domino effect. There were a lot of people that were really, I tell you, and again, we talked about this on the show a couple of weeks ago. I remember there was a news report where here in the DC metropolitan area, there was one person that was a bar owner who was affected deeply by the outbreak. And I remember this was a day before the XFL had announced they were done. I remember the guy had said, with all the other sports that's now canceled, we're hoping that the XFL is not next, because the XFL would definitely bring in some type of revenue here for us. And this bar owner, he had about four restaurants in the DC metropolitan area. And, you know, he was saying, as it stands right now, he definitely was going to have to try to figure out some type of way to get a hold of a loan and, you know, try to stay afloat, keep he and his employees afloat, you know, during everything. And then the very next day, XFL, hey, we're done. And you were like, damn. And he actually was the very first person I had thought of when that shit had went down. I'm doing pretty good, Purple. Hope you've been well as well, my friend. And that was just, wow. So you get what I'm saying. You get the domino effect now. So wishing ill will towards employer or promotion just because the bottom line you don't like, just find something else to watch is the point that I'm making. And you can take that same domino effect that I just described and you can apply that to your respected employer or your situation. You know, a lot of people have been affected by this. I know that what's going around right now is XFL has shut down. XFL is no more. And my message to you guys, until Vince McMahon and Alpha Entertainment release a statement saying that that is it for the XFL, they are no more, take everything else that you're seeing that's being put out there with a grain of salt. I want you guys to be hip to that, because you're going to have a lot of people that's going to spin this in a way, oh, XFL shut down. And if you remember when we did a Wrestling with the Topics a couple of weeks ago, and Tammy has said, so wait, the XFL, it's done? I said, no, they just canceled the rest of the season. That's all. And but so they're not shutting it down. Like, they're not shutting it down. It's like they just can't do the season. It's like, oh, okay. So you're seeing these terms that's going around about XFL is shutting down. You know, they're no more. folks, what do you expect for companies, promotions like the XFL to do? You know, if they're not going to be able to advertise games, they're not going to be able to show games to the public, have the public come in and everything, because they feed off the gates, and you get the whole domino effect. If they're not able to do any of those things, then sooner or later you're going to have to cut your losses. But again, say it one more time, and I want to stress this: look for Vince McMahon and Alpha Entertainment to release some type of a statement about whether or not the XFL is going to continue. They're going to see everybody for the what is it, the 2021 season. Take everything else that you're hearing right now with a grain of salt. That's it in a nutshell. And in some other little interesting little tidbits here, seeing some early WrestleMania numbers that's coming in here. This is according to Dave Meltzer. Usually he's pretty good with his numbers, but apparently the numbers for WrestleMania this year were said to be not good. Something as simple as doing a simple Google search. Low expectations for this year. Google numbers were especially down for the second day, apparently, while the TV ratings for the pre-show were also down. And it looks as though, with regards to the pre-show that was on FS1 and not the USA Network this year, lower potential audience. And I don't know what WWE was thinking from that standpoint, because I'll be the first to tell you that if you're going to do a WrestleMania pre-show, I get that you've got the relationship that you have with FS1 and everything, but not many people are truly aware that they have FS1. Like, I can remember a time where I used to hear a little something about FS1, and when I would try to turn to it, there was a time where, I'm sure like many of you, I don't even get this channel, so why should I give a shit? And then one day, I'm just flipping through the channels. Oh, I get FS1. What happened? And now it's a case where, depending on your cable satellite provider, FS1 is now part of just, you can watch it. It's free for everybody to watch. So depending on your cable satellite provider, you may have access to FS1 and not even realize it, that you can access it for free. Or maybe you have to pay a premium to access it, and then it becomes a question, do you want to pay that premium? So they really messed up having the pre-show on FS1. They should have put it on USA Network. They should have. Or give two unique pre-shows. Give two completely different, unique experiences of a pre-show for both of those networks. I think that would have sufficed. And the way you could have made them unique was to include a particular exclusive match that you were only going to see for that particular network. Maybe that's something they can kind of look into for the next year. Apparently, WWE usually announces the network subscriber count on the day after WrestleMania in a few weeks' time, but they're pretty quiet right now, and usually it's a good high point for subscriptions. Last year, the paid number was 1,776,000 worldwide. This year, WWE had more viewers for day one of WrestleMania, even though Sunday is the day y'all know it usually happens. And apparently, Google searches for Saturday were around 1 million, which is being described as way under expectations. Interesting, yeah? Way under expectations. Meanwhile, and let's break this down a little bit more. Put that number that I just put at you guys, about around 1 million, put that into perspective. So it's usually what a lower level UFC show pulls in. WrestleMania usually does better than shows with John Jones headlining, but the current number is being described as worse than a show with Demetrius Johnson headlining. Sunday only had 270,000, which includes Monday, which is a much lower number than normal. Only 50,000 of that number was for WrestleMania, with 100,000 for Charlotte Flair, 50,000 for Drew McIntyre, and John Cena, and 20,000 for Mandy Rose. I know it's kind of like hard to think when you got numbers coming at you right now, but stay with me. Kickoff shows. The Sunday show with Liv Morgan versus Natalya. Apparently that performed on the WWE Network and TV better. The Saturday pre-show on FS1 had a 0.1 rating and 106,000 viewers. 4,400 in the, or 4,400,000 in the, no, I said that right, 44,000 in the 18 to 49 demographic, age demographic range, 0.3 rating. 29,000 men, 15,000 women. Peak was 129,000 in the second quarter. And then with the Cesaro versus Drew Gulak, that had 125,000 viewers. Was number 97 on cable. FS1 averaged 120,000 in the time slot that year, while last year was 824,000 viewers for the UFC preliminary fights. Think about that for a second. Sunday's pre-show had a 0.1 rating with 112,000, 56,000 in the 18 to 49 age demographic, a 0.4 rating, 43,000 men, 13,000 women. The peak was 132,000 for Morgan versus Natty. FS1 typically averages 117,000 in the time slot, and last year, marinate on this, last year was 250,000. It was number 92 for the hour, excluding news shows. Last year's pre-show, which was on the USA Network, that had, check this out, that had a 0.5 rating with 749,000 viewers, with a 0.26 rating in the 18 to 49 age demographic. So what did we learn here? We learned a couple of things. One, don't keep doing exclusive shit for FS1 when the majority of people are not aware that they have it, because a lot of people don't think they can access that. Most people, depending on the cable satellite provider, have to pay extra for that, whereas everybody and their mama, regardless of the cable satellite package they have, gets the USA Network. I mean, shit, you can have YouTube TV, you could have Sling TV, Crunchyroll, or whoever the fuck, Suzy Q, Butterfinger, whatever the fuck other little networks are out there for TV subscriptions. You get the USA Network. So don't keep doing that. And then, the second thing that we kind of learned from this, maybe because of the whole aspect of WrestleMania not being live this year, and the fact that there were spoilers that was out there, and people, curiosity got the best of them. They were able to jump out there and they were able to see for themselves what all had happened and everything. So it's really weird. It's really weird. Hey, Purple, what's going on with you, man? Shout out to Purple. Purple just came in there. Purple, when you do that super chat, I got to do it, right? I'm legendary, and for what you just did, you're going to get the Tony Chimel. You're going to get the Tony Chimel. Purple, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Purple says, keep up the great shows, brother. Here's a few bucks to show my appreciation. I have been a supporter for many years. Hope you and your wife stay safe. Oh, Purple, thank you for that. I appreciate the kind words, my friend. Really, that means a lot. You have no idea. That means a lot. Thank you. And to your family, and you especially, I hope you're staying safe. And I can't stress it enough. Everybody, we're going to get through this together. We just got to practice now more than ever. Now more than ever. We've been doing it before, but now more than ever, we got to practice good hygiene, and we got to make sure that we're keeping that social distance. And whether you're wearing a bandana or you're wearing that mask, we got to make sure we're doing it. We got to. Let me tell you something. I caved on wearing a mask. I caved, man. And let me tell you something. If I can cave in, it's very rare am I rattled about something. But if your man can wear a bandana, a mask, as stupid and silly, and we think that it's Fallout 76, if I can wear a mask, that should tell you guys, well, you know what? Let me, and then look at it like this. Look at it like this. For your loved ones, especially that they're kind of up there in age, push it. Fucking push it. Like, better to be safe than sorry. I always say, man, better to be safe than sorry. Seriously. So, do we? I don't think we need to go any further into what we just talked about, though, for the Mania numbers, right? I mean, I don't think there was really anything much else to add, but basically, in a nutshell, put it on the USA Network. What was the other thing that we said? The fact that it was pre-taped. Spoilers was already out there. People, out of curiosity, read the dirt sheets. I think me and a handful of other veteran podcasters were probably a unique core group that said, not going to look at the spoilers. We're going to treat WrestleMania when it airs like real time. We're not doing any spoilers. No, not having any of it. But, curiosity gets the best of people, man. So I'm sure a lot of people have freaking checked it out, but, it is what it is. I'm going to get to the revival right after this, but I wanted to bring this to you all's attention. I had checked out the interview. I recommend you guys go out of your way to check it out. Actually, while I'm plugging interviews, can I plug Howard Stern? He did a fantastic interview with Tom Brady. And it was quite insightful. I personally felt. I would definitely encourage you guys to go out of your way, check it out when you get an opportunity. It was good shit. He was definitely pretty reflective on his time with New England, but at the same time, he wasn't quite fully ready to bury the hell out of Coach Belichick. But go out of your way, check that out. Now, Ronda Rousey. She did an interview, and I definitely would recommend you guys go out of your way to check this one out. And Purple saying, oh yeah, I've been wearing one for a week now. I rigged my mask. I rigged my mask as an actual protective mask. Yeah, oh good. That's what you want to do. Yeah, I mean, he didn't go fully in on Belichick the way I wanted for him to really go in. But Brady did let it be known that, in a nutshell, he ain't like how he was done in New England. That much I can tell you in a nutshell, just to kind of sum it up. I'll get into it more with Tammy, because we will be talking about it on the show, because we both were checking out the highlights of it and everything. But I want to put the spotlight on Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey did an interview with Steve-O. And it got a few people talking and everything. I thought it was really good. She had discussed why she left WWE. She also talked about how she felt WWE fans were very ungrateful and unappreciative. And she also talked about how if she ever decided she wanted to come back to the WWE, it was not going to be on a full-time schedule. I don't want to, spam out on transcript highlights, but the main two that I want to read to you guys is this. First one, on how she loved WWE but was away from home too much. She said, and I quote, I love the WWE. I had such a great time. I love all the girls in the locker room. Hell yeah, running out there, having fake fights for fun is just the best thing. I love choreography. I love acting. I love theater. It's live theater, some of the last forms of live theater, and it's so fun. But I was doing basically part-time, and I was away from home for over 200 days out of the year. And when I did get home, basically, I was so sleep deprived because you just don't have time to lay down. Now, as far as WWE fans being ungrateful and not appreciating her, she says, and I quote, we didn't need the money. I'm sure she's referring to herself and her husband. We didn't need the money. So it's just like, what am I doing for? What am I doing it for if I'm not being able to spend my time and my energy on my family, but instead spending my time and energy on a bunch of fucking ungrateful fans that don't even appreciate me. And the thing is, I love performing and I love the girls and I love being out there, but at the end of the day, I was just like, fuck these fans, dude. My family loves me and they appreciate me, and I want all my energy to go into them. So that was my decision. At the end of the day, it was like, hey girls, love what you're doing. I'm gonna try to take all my momentum and push you guys as far as I can. Fly, little birds, fly. I'm going fucking home. And that was basically it. And last part I'll read to you guys here. As far as the WWE return, if I ever do come back, it will never be at a full-time capacity ever again. I think for stints, chunk of time, I'm very much an obsessive person where I like to obsess over something for a certain period of time and then take some time to obsess about something else. But no, I'm never going to be a full-time again. But over 200 days a year on the road, I needed to do it in order to learn and get immersed into it and really understand what was going on. But it's just not the lifestyle for me. It was a great interview. Go out of your way. Check it out. I actually watched it in full and I had enjoyed it tremendously. And I gotta say, the fans were tough on Ronda. They really were. I remember when it was first announced that she was coming into the WWE. A lot of people kind of played with that idea in their head and they said, wow, well, this is great for WWE. Okay, well, let's see what she can do. But then you had other people which were basically the Ronda MMA fans. Okay, so she got her ass whooped a couple of times and now she's running to the fake fighting, as many of them had dubbed it. They called it the fake fighting. I remember early on, you can go back, I was always consistent. I said, Ronda Rousey, WWE, this is great for the women's division. Let's see what happens. If she's really that dedicated to picking up the craft, and I know she is, she's gonna freaking pick everything up real quick. Let's see what goes down. And then we got what we got of her in the WWE. Yeah, the promos was a little bit rocky. Some of her in-ring work early on was, but I remember saying on the show, I said, give her time. Give her time. She's going to pick it up. I said, look, you saw what she was able to do in the UFC. If you didn't see what she was able to do in the UFC, go see what she did in the UFC on YouTube or Daily Motion. It's like, just give her 3 months. She's going to be 3 times. And I was consistent. And I said, okay, look at where she is now in 3 months. Just imagine where she's going to be in about 6 months. Sure enough, what I said, I knew what I was talking about. And for me, I felt that for somebody that from a distance was kind of like a fan of wrestling, but never really to be able to pick everything up so late in life, I felt that, okay, she was what I felt was the perfect embodiment of, if I were to sum her up in a nutshell without being exhausting, it would be this. You know how you pick up a new video game and you get your ass handed to you, the first, I don't know, 10 to 15 hours that you're playing it, you get your ass handed to you. Whether it's a multiplayer game, whatever it is, just think of those classic video games all the way up to now that you've picked up and your ass have gotten owned the first handful of hours. But then once you start, oh, okay, all right, so this is how I do this. Okay, I got the controls down. Okay, now I know how to do. Okay, all right, and all of a sudden you are a fucking expert. You are a fucking expert. No longer do you need to play the game on easy, medium, hard, super hard. You're going for fucking the last setting, epic dead, right? You're going for that. Like, one hit, you're dead. And you're a pro. I looked at what Ronda Rousey was doing as basically a beginning player and how she blossomed to the very end and essentially became an expert and left high and dry. I mean, she left while the getting was good. She left on top, basically. And, you know, I got to tell you something. God bless her. God bless her, man. If they want to start a family and all that other stuff, more power to them. She continues to have my love. She continues to have my support. I've always been a huge Ronda Rousey fan. Matter of fact, true story. True story. We had got a couple of her books of her autobiography a couple of years back. And we came this close to actually getting her on the show. I bullshit you guys not. I wouldn't bullshit you guys about anybody that wants to see the emails. Let me know. I can show you the emails. But we came very close to getting her on the show through a third party. And sadly, what ended up happening, you know how notorious Ronda is for, you know, not really giving, at least at that point, notorious for not really giving too many interviews because she really wasn't an interview person, basically. And things did not fall through, sadly, for the interview and everything. And it was like, oh man, you know, that sucks. But yeah, man, big supporter. Been supporting Ronda Rousey for many, many years. You know, you got to do with what makes you feel right at the end of the day. Mentally, but definitely physically, you got to do what you got to do that's right for you. And look, for her, notice something here, and I don't really see too many people homing in on this, but she talked about how, hey, I was on the road for 200 days out of the year, and she looked at that and said, hey, you know, that was technically a full-time schedule for me. You know, even though when you really think about it, it's kind of really not when you think about it. But for her to do 200 days out of the year, that took its toll on her mentally and physically to the point, yeah, I can't really do this long-term, year in, year out. She did it because she wanted to be totally invested into it and everything. And I get that. But if she's at that point where she's thinking about starting a family, she wants that perfect balance of, I get it. What she needs is that Brock Lesnar deal. Now, let's be for real, in a nutshell. That's what she needs. She needs that Brock Lesnar freaking deal. And there's nothing wrong with that. Work them limited dates, do about whatever. What is it, 50 dates that Lesnar does or some shit like that? She needs something basically like that. But see, the one thing that was not covered in this interview, that, and it kind of irks me a little bit. And Steve-O did a good job, but my message to anybody that gets an opportunity to interview Ronda Rousey, ask her this one question. I've yet to see this question. You know, I get the whole, would you return to the WWE? I get that. That's a good question. That's nice. But let's go a step further. Hey, Ronda, can you clear the air a little bit on this contract that you signed with WWE? Because when you were first announced that you signed with the WWE, the announcement was made that you signed on to the WWE for multiple years. So by you doing what you did, culminating at WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what's happened with your contract? Did you fully meet all of your arrangements with WWE? Was there never, in fact, a multi-year contract signed between you and WWE? What's going on with your contract? You know, and if there is a contract, is it just frozen right now? You know, what are you able to speak upon it, or you cannot for legal reasons? We need that type of question asked, because there is a lot of shit that's still up in the air about, and for the love of me, the few interviews I have seen her give, even most recently on Corey Graves' joint, I've yet to see that be addressed. Would I love to see Ronda Rousey back in the WWE? Yes, I would love to see her back in the WWE. Oh my God, we would benefit from it tremendously right now. Just what she was able to do in elevating the other girls that she was able to work with for her tenure with WWE. It was definitely, but see, here's the thing. You got to learn from your mistakes from last time. You know, if you have the opportunity to work with a Ronda Rousey again, you really got to make sure that the women that you have working with her, that it's a case where, think about it, when Ronda left, other than Charlotte, Becky Lynch, nobody else was really elevated. I mean, the women's division as a whole was pretty good, but when you look at, okay, well, just overall, all these women, next woman up, like, it was still your core girls. Nobody else outside of those core girls benefited, and it was quite sad. So WWE found themselves in a pretty bad little predicament here. So can they improve? Exactly, Purple. It's like, y'all got to be thinking about that as far as that multi-year deal. Like, okay, so what's going on with the multi-year deal? So they gotta address that. They gotta address that. And I appreciate her being candid and everything as always, but it seems like each time she gets interviewed, somehow that's the one question that escapes the mouth of whoever is interviewing her. And I don't get that. Hey, Jerry Lawler. I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm a big fan of Jerry Lawler's as an artist. And by the way, oh my God, I gotta share this with you guys. Congrats to Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn. This was crazy, and I was showing my girl this over the course of 24 hours, okay? So rewind it back to, I think yesterday it was, because it was Thursday basically. Todd McFarlane had launched a Kickstarter campaign. His goal was to reach $100,000. And basically, in a nutshell, he wanted to, if you guys were big toy collectors back in 1995, you guys will probably remember the very first Spawn action figure that came out. It came with a comic book. It had the foldable cape and everything. It was classic Spawn, chains and all that. Todd was talking about how he was trying to do a Kickstarter campaign so that they could do a new version of that. And he talked about how, hey, the arrangements that we used to have with places like Toys R Us, KB, who else? Tower Records, Suncoast, a lot of those places, they're no more now. So the current retailers that's out there, they're not interested in doing one-offs. They're more interested in, hey, we want something every quarter. And so he's not really looking to do things like that, at least not right now. So he decided, okay, well, let's do a Kickstarter. And if it's really successful, then we'll do a lot more of these further down the road. And so the first Kickstarter he decided to do was to do a revamp of that 1995 Spawn action figure. Just type in a Bing Google search. For those of you that, might be a little younger, you kind of see what some of us older folks were messing around with back in the day. Just type in a Bing Google search, Spawn action figure 1995, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. You can even do that in an eBay search, and you'll see what we're talking about. So Spawn, so Todd is doing a new version of that, and this one, it has more excellent points of articulation. It's a 7-foot figure. So that's pretty badass. Or 7-inch figure, I should say. Let me not say 7 foot. 7-inch figure. A lot bigger than what he did in 95. And my God, when he launched it, I remember when he first launched it, I'm going, oh, okay. I came home later. I mean, my God, it was about 6 hours later I come home. And the guy almost made $600,000. And his goal was just 100,000 backers. But he got, I just was, I was amazed at what I saw. And actually I said that wrong. He wanted $100,000 to fund the project. But he ended up getting $600,000. And I'm going, what the fuck? And I wake up, I think it was earlier today, and I think I saw him, he was about to hit $1 million, and I'm going, Jesus fucking Christ. And I'm pretty sure he has the $1 million now. But Todd, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to shut it down now. He is still letting it go because so many people. So my whole thing, if you remember Spawn, you were a big fan of Spawn. Check that shit out. Great tiers. I'm backing it. It's very rare I back stuff like that. But if they got a good track record, I haven't heard of them getting in trouble. You guys know I've backed the project for rebuilding Jake Roberts, Razor Ramon. Let's see what else. ODB when she was trying to get a new food truck. Who else have? There's a lot of people that I've backed. I'm definitely backing Todd on this one next time I get paid. I'm also gonna be backing the Gail Kim, Lita, Christy Hemme, Chavo Guerrero shoot interview documentary series that they're trying to put together. Those two I'm eyeing greatly, but check those out. Great little for Todd. It's great little tier packages. For $80, he'll do an autograph joint, and you get the figure. Check it all out. Just type in Todd McFarlane Spawn Kickstarter, Bing Google search, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so Jerry Lawler though. Jerry Lawler, before I forget, see, we got started on Jerry Lawler because of the whole art thing, and then that's how it went into Todd McFarlane, just so you guys can kind of see the connection. But Todd McFarlane, Jerry Lawler, that is, I'm sorry, I got my tongue twisted. Jerry Lawler, he is selling his 1960s replica of the Batmobile. It's drivable and all. I don't know how many of you guys were aware that he had the Batmobile from the 1960s Batman TV show, that he had a replica of it, but he is selling it. And look, if you guys are sitting on some cash, or you know somebody that is a car collector, you guys might be able to get this for a serious freaking steal. Let me tell you. Check this out. It's listed right now a little bit over $110,000 on the website Hemmings.com. That's Hemmings. Hemmings.com. It's being sold through a party called Motorzotica Classic Cars. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. So yeah, that Batmobile, that is just to kind of wet you all's mouth a little bit, that is a Corvette C4 chassis with a Buick 350 CID V8 engine. When I think about the cars that I used to love watching as a kid, the Batmobile from the 1960s show, the Batmobile from 1989's Tim Burton Batman movie, Knight Rider, oh my God, David Hasselhoff and that. As a matter of fact, let's see if we can get the missus on real quick here. Every time I forget the name of that car that frickin' David Hasselhoff was pushing, let me see something here. I always forget. She is a big car lover. She can look at a car. She can tell you the make, number, and all that other fucking cool shit. She's got a really good memory. But those cars were cool. Oh, we got her on the phone? Wait a minute. Hang on. And I want to do Rodecaster Pro. See if we can get her on here. Hey, hon.
Yep.
Hey, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me crank you up because I got you on live here. We were talking about cars. First off, I didn't even know this. Jerry Lawler is selling the... I didn't know he had this. Jerry Lawler is selling his replica of the 1960s Batmobile.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And tell me if this sounds like a good price. He's selling it for $110,000.
Obviously, it's authentic.
I'm seeing that it is a early Corvette C4 chassis with a Buick 350 CID V8 engine.
It really just depends on how bad somebody wants it and whether it'll go for that.
Man, that damn thing looks so freaking pretty, man. That thing is pretty. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Frame, Corvette suspension. Hang on here. Oh, okay, here we go, guys. A Buick 350 CID V8 engine from a 1971 Skylark that provides the motive power, channeling it through a 3-speed automatic transmission. The car had power steering and brakes to make chasing the bad guys feel easier. Yeah, that's funny. The car had power steering and the Batmobile rolls on BFG size P245 60 R16 front and P295 50 R15 in the rear. Each tire is mounted on alloy torque thrust wheels. Yeah, it sounds pretty damn good, man. Sounds like he kept up at it. Real quick, what was the car that David Hasselhoff pushed on Knight Rider? Was that a Pontiac?
I don't think so. If it was, I don't think so. I'm not sure what it was, but I don't think it was a Pontiac.
What's your guess, if you had to guess? Because I told them you're usually pretty good at cars. As I'm putting you on the spot now. It ain't a Thunderbird.
It looked more like a. It looks more like a cross between a Corvette and a Chevy. I mean, and possibly a Pontiac, but I don't think it was a Pontiac.
Well, in this case, I was right. It was a Pontiac because the car used as kit in this series was a customized 1982 Pontiac Firebird sports model that cost $100,000 to build.
Wow.
In today's time, that would be equivalent to $265,690.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a 1982 Pontiac Firebird. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What was one of your favorite cars growing up?
Well, I guess the first car that I wanted was, it was a Mustang. It was probably like an 89, I think it was 88 or 89, both of them. I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but it was an 88, 89 Mustang. And they had one in Steven Seagal's Hard to Kill.
Oh, okay. In
I think it was a white one.
And Hard to Kill, you said?
I think so. I think it was in Hard to Kill. But it had a spoiler on the back and the lights were kind of lined.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty car. It was a 2-door. And that was actually the first car that I ever thought I wanted to drive.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that was essentially my first, wow, that is pretty.
Yeah.
I want that car.
Yeah.
And then, of course, tastes change and years progress, but I never did. And then the other one would have been a 2002 to 2004 Sebring, Pontiac Sebring.
Okay.
No, Chrysler, not Pontiac. Chrysler Sebring.
Mm-hmm.
Those were my two that I wanted really, really, really badly. And both are kind of on the sportier side of cars.
I also got to go with the DeLorean. Big Back to the Future. I also got to go with the DeLorean because we were talking about that, and so it kind of led into like cars I was over the years, and so I was thinking the Knight Rider, the Pontiac Firebird there, and then
mm-hmm.
I was thinking about you know what, he didn't really have a signature vehicle, but I remember Miami Vice. I remember when I was a kid, I was looking at Don Johnson as Crockett, and I was going, man, he drives some smooth ass fucking cars. And then we already talked about the DeLorean, the Batmobile. And then also, I don't know why, but I thought it was pretty cool what the A-Team was driving.
The bigger vehicle?
Yeah, remember they used to normally ride
It looked like nowadays look like a Hummer.
Remember it would either be a Hummer or I remember they used to normally
Well, it's not a Hummer because Hummers weren't out then.
Nah. I thought they used to push a black van. I thought they used to push a big old black van.
Oh, yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah, there was something about that black van I liked, especially when they were like chasing somebody or they had to get away from somebody. It was like, man, I want one of them, like, because they made a big old black van look fucking cool. They made a big old black van look cool. Yeah, that shit was cool.
That's funny.
There was, and then you remember Airwolf?
Who?
You remember the TV show Airwolf?
No.
It was kind of like Knight Rider, but it was basically a helicopter joint.
Oh, okay. No, yeah. I never saw it.
Yeah, that they were pushing a helicopter. That was good. I think that show maybe ran for 2 or 3 seasons, so it was pretty short lived. And then I had another vehicle. Oh, well, shit. We're talking. Come on, man. Thunder in Paradise with Hulk Hogan. He had basically a boat that was like Knight Rider, and it would turn into this cool. You remember?
No.
The way you just said no. Is that you on your own, ninja? All right, I'm close to wrapping up this show, so I'll see you in a little bit, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I love you.
All right, love you.
All right, bye. Yeah, all right, so, she's like, yeah, you remember Thunder in Paradise? No. That's crazy. Hey, Jared, what's up with you, man? Oh, God. Yeah, good times. Yeah, Airwolf. I remember that show. Airwolf was fucking badass, man. I remember that fucking helicopter. I was like, oh, man, I want one of those. I'm like, oh, that shit look. I remember being a kid just, oh, man, it looks fucking badass, man. So it's amazing how we get sidetracked talking about some of the stuff we talk about on this show. Okay. Let's talk. We teach you guys kind of long enough. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this. All right, so the revival. The revival has been granted their release from the WWE. Yo, Purple, you got me again. You got me again. I'll see you and I'll raise you on the GT500 from Gone in 60 Seconds. One of my all-time favorite car movies that I love. It's not really a car movie. I mainly enjoyed the movie because I'm a big fan of the actor. And then secondly, the car chase scene. And the fact that he did all of the car chase stuff himself. I mean, yeah, you had a couple of open, or rather closed circuit roads and everything, but it's one of my all-time favorite movies. And as soon as I say the actor's name, you're going to know exactly the movie that I'm talking about. But I would have to say, and I'm just kind of picturing it in my head here, picturing if that's, because I'm kind of thinking about some other stuff. And yeah, I gotta go with that one. I would say Steve McQueen and 1968's Bullet. Steve McQueen and 1968's Bullet. That vehicle that he drove in that movie. Fucking badass. And what was such a travesty of that fucking movie, Steve McQueen had no idea how popular that movie was going to be in the years after he originally did it and everything. And he actually had tried to buy the car from the movie, but the people that had it, nope. Yeah, he offered so much money, and they were like, nope. And I remember seeing a news report. I want to say I saw a news report maybe about 2, possibly 3 years ago. The guy that actually has the Bullet car lives out here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And once in a blue moon, he'll bring the car out and he'll do a little something, something, and he'll show it to the public. Like, he'll usually take it on a little limited tour or whatever. But for the most part, he keeps it hidden away. He didn't even disclose where the location is, and rightfully so, because that is a piece of pop film culture when it's all said and done. But when you see, he's done some pretty impressive work to that vehicle over the years as far as upkeep and everything. But everything that you remember about that car from 1968, as far as the cosmetics physically, interior and all of that, leathering, all that, it's still intact with that car. That was such a badass fucking car. And for those of you that have never seen Bullet before, if I were to describe the car for you guys, as a matter of fact, what I can do real quick, let me just do 1968. I'll say 1968 Bullet car, and I should be able to see it. So Frank Bullett's car, it was a 1968 Ford Mustang 390 GT 2x2 fastback. Yeah, look that car up. That fucking joint was fucking badass. Jared, sadly, I don't have a call-in joint right now. I remember the few times that we did try to do the whole call-in feature. You know, it went real weird. We had like mail stalkers. I wish I was kidding. We had like mail stalkers that would just be breathing into the phone and all kinds of other weird shit that was going on. I think probably the one thing that we will do at a later date, we do have a Discord for the show. That's actually in the YouTube description. I think one of these days, if we can get people that aren't shy and actually want to, you know, be patched into the show and go live maybe on a pay-per-view night, that's something I could definitely entertain. But now we don't have the traditional dial this phone number and you can call in that way. But yeah, Frank Bullett's 1968 Ford Mustang 390 GT fastback. Look that car up, look up that movie Bullet. You'll thank me later. Great fucking movie. Great car chase scene that was going down. You guys got me sidetracked like a mofo. Let's talk about the Revival, man. So the Revival, Dash Wilder, Scott Dawson, they have been released by the WWE. We saw these guys come in about 2014. They were down there in NXT, became NXT champions. Were Raw Tag Champions, were freaking SmackDown Tag Champions. You know, these guys, you know, released. They wanted this release. I mean, we've been hearing about this for a long time now. It feels as though we've been going through the motions of hearing stuff about Dawson and Wilder for at least 8 months, maybe close to a year, but I'll say at least 8 months we've been hearing, you know, they're thinking about leaving, and now it's happened. You know, obviously the guys have been a bit frustrated with their position in the company. They feel that with regards to the tag division, it was safe to say it was lacking. You know, it doesn't help that you were pushing essentially the same tag teams for an extended period of time in the Usos and New Day. All of that, you know, doesn't really help. You know, it's like tag division, you know, what tag division? And for me, I think Jim Ross summed it up perfectly when he was talking about the Revival. I didn't check out his show, but I read a little bullet point of a highlight that he had said transcript wise, and he said the Revival, and I'm paraphrasing, he said the Revival, they are a really good sports wrestling tag team. They're a great wrestling tag team. They are not really sports entertainment. And some people may look at that and they may be a little bit confused by that. And when you really break down what Jim Ross was basically saying, and I agree wholeheartedly, I have talked about Revival a few times on the show. and told you guys how they remind me of throwback old school wrestling from the 70s. And I've always said to you guys, they are part of the wrong era. They would have been phenomenal in the old WWF days. They would have been fine for AWA. They would have been fine for NWA. They would have been fine for all of those things. Wrong era. Great wrestling, straight up pure technical wrestling tag team without a shadow of doubt, just in the wrong era. And I can remember when I was briefly looking at that team years prior when they were in NXT. I always had gave them praise and said, hey, they could do some serious wonders on the main roster. But I always said, I don't really know how they would resonate well with the mainstream audience. I don't really know if they would click like that. Time will tell. Hopefully I'm wrong and the fans will love them. And yeah, were they the most underutilized, poorly utilized tag team in the WWE for the main shows? Yes, 1,000 times yes. And it's sad. It's sad that a great tag team like that was poorly misutilized, underutilized. They tried. They tried, but I really didn't feel it was truly reciprocal. You feel where I'm coming from? I felt as though, even though the boys were trying, I felt as though creative only went but so far per whoever was advising or instructing the writers or whatnot. But I felt that Dawson and Wilder were going, hey, Purple, thank you one more time, man. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Anybody else that wants to do a super chat while we're still live on the air, hop on YouTube, do the super chat. Always appreciate that. But it just really felt as though there was only but so much rope given to those guys. And sadly, and it sucks. It really, really sucks. This is a blessing. For those of us that have been watching the revival, that have been big fans of the revival, this is the best news to hit our ears. Take a look on social media. Let me ask you guys, speak the gospel here for a second. When was the last time you guys can recall a period ever where somebody was released by the WWE? They didn't do anything wrong. They just wanted out and WWE said, all right, we're releasing you. Here you go. Enjoy. When was the last time you can remember being on forums, being on social media, and unanimously everybody was going, praise Jesus. Thank God that they were released. That is so fucking awesome. Cool. So happy for you. When was the last time you ever saw a situation? That's because the many of us that are in euphoria, including myself, are going, yes, finally, these guys can fucking now go to a promotion where they can not only be properly utilized, but now they are in a position where they have say in how they are being booked to a degree, the direction creatively on where they want to go and everything. And man, just the promotions. I know everybody is going AEW. They would be perfect for that mold. They would. Hey, not for nothing. I've said this time and time repeatedly on the shows. AEW's got the second show that's going to be launching on TNT. Hopefully it's still on track and it will be launching later this year, or worst case scenario, maybe it might not launch until after this pandemic is over. So maybe first quarter of 2021. We'll have to see. But you still got that second show that got the green light by TNT for AEW. So, hey, they would benefit tremendously without a shadow of doubt. They would also benefit from New Japan. They would benefit tremendously from New Japan. The endless classic matchups that we would be able to see. I'm with you guys that are saying Bucks, Revival. I've seen enough of the Bucks now. I've been critical of the Bucks. I have said, hey, when you give me the Bucks that are straight up they're trying to tell a story. Man, they are fucking phenomenal in the ring. They are almost untouchable. Give me those Bucks any day of the week rather than the high spot, super kick, super kick, super kick, high spot, super kick, high spot, high spot, high spot, Meltzer driver. I don't like that. I just don't. It doesn't do anything for me. Couple of high spots here and there, I'm down with that, but to just be spamming it, I don't particularly care for that, but I will give the devil its due. When they are just about the freaking science, Young Bucks are fucking phenomenal. I can see them tearing it up with Santino and Ortiz, or Power and Glory or whatever, or Power and Beautiful, whatever fuck their name is. I still think they should be called the Illegals. I've been saying that about them for a couple of months. I said, call them the Illegals. Play off of what's happening everything with DACA and all that other shit. Notice how that's taking a serious backseat to, but that's a different topic for another time. Let's just stay on topic here. So you see that. What else they got going on over there? Yeah, I mean, if you really want, oh my God, Omega and Page against the Revival. Woo! That would be smoking. Impact Wrestling, forget about it. Seriously, forget about it. ROH, I'm not liking what's happening with ROH right now. Seeing all the messed up stories, Kelly Klein and a few other things. Joey Mercury. Really, it seems the best bets right now for Dawson. Look, even NWA, they would do pretty good in NWA, I personally feel. But the thing with NWA, here's the problem with NWA, that I have trepidations. Can they afford Dawson and Wilder, one? And then number two, all you got is NWA Power. So unless you're going to expand, you're going to do about 90 minutes or whatever, so really the best bet, it really seems New Japan, and they would just, oh my God, they would fucking be tearing it up in New Japan. Or you do go on ahead and put them in AEW, and I think they would do phenomenally well. I'll tell you what, I'm more eagerly anticipating the shoot interview. Very seldom am I anticipating a shoot interview where, okay, let's hear in your own words what happened here. And the Revival, I'm sure they've got some stories to tell. I would love to hear about those stories. I would love to hear how big of a supporter Randy Orton was, and probably was pretty instrumental in getting the ball rolling for them in their journey to WWE and everything. Seemed like they had a really close bond with Orton. I believe Edge as well. Natty, quite a few people. I would love to hear their stories. I really, really would. But they're going to be okay. And we as fans know they're going to be okay. We know we're going to see them on the other side. And we know that on that other side, pasture is very green for them in a very good way. So, I'm happy that they got out. I don't appreciate the fact that WWE was trying to strong arm them and trying to persuade them with more money. It just goes to show you. Really stop and think about this for a second. And I want to leave you guys with this, because as far as other topics we can get into on the show tonight, there really isn't anything else more that I really want to dive into. Everything else is kind of non-wrestling related, and it can honestly wait until me and Tammy do wrestling with the topics for you. I think we're going to do it this week. We'll see. But look, let me say this. It just goes to show you that money is not everything. Sometimes, ultimately, it is all about the pursuit of happiness. It is. And I'm no wrestler. Had aspirations, tried, and I got more joy out of putting packages together for people that were trying to break into the business and everything. I got more joy out of that than anything. And seeing my friends and colleagues that were trying to get into pro wrestling trying to support them as best as I could and everything. And for some, it worked out okay. And then for others, you know, they're happy. They are happy. I'll say that. They're definitely happy. Don't make no mistake about it. But let me try to relate to this in a universal type of way. It just goes to show you that no matter what you may have in life, you can have all the money in the world. You can have all the social media engagements. You can have all the followers. You can have merchandise that's selling relatively good. If you're not happy with what's happening with you from a creative standpoint, or just you're not happy in general, well, then you have a decision to make. Do you go on ahead and do you continue to accept that mediocrity that's happening with you daily, weekly, yearly? Or do you say, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. I need to get outside of that comfort zone and I need to go pursue that happiness, because what's happening with me right now at this current state in life, I'm not fully happy. Now, some people will say, well, there's no such thing as, when it comes to work, there's no such thing as the perfect job. Don't let people tell you that, people. Seriously, let me tell you something. There is such thing as, even when you are your own boss, yeah, you're gonna probably come across some things where, but there is such thing as finding that pursuit of happiness. And hey, I'm okay. I'm okay because I found that happiness, and look at where I am now. Look with me and the first job. The first job in marketing. Work is scarce now. I mean, they can only, at this point, this whole week, they only had me come in once. I said to Tabby, I said, thank God I got the second gig when I did, because as far as our bills go, we would really be fucking hurting right now. If the timing didn't happen the way that it did, and I got the second gig, when I got it, and I feel so happy. I feel so relieved. I can't tell you how, when a bill comes, all right, we're okay. We just gotta do this, and yeah, we got that. It's no problem. Versus, well, the first job is hours are a little bit slow, and you feel where I'm coming from. So, now I'm in this position where, hey, I got this other gig. I'm okay, but that doesn't mean this first gig is off the hook. I'm not happy with what's going on with this first gig, and I'm not telling you guys anything different that I told the missus. I said, if things don't change with this first gig, it's going to be a serious conversation going, okay, maybe it's time we part ways, because I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to be financially comfortable, and I can only imagine the type of conversations that Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson were having with each other, but most importantly, were having with their family. And if I were a betting man, I would like to believe that these were some smart motherfuckers that over the years that they've been with WWE, saved their money, put it in that bank account and just let it grow, maybe invest in a little bit of stock and everything, and just let it grow, let it grow, let it grow, and ain't nothing wrong with that. So they are definitely a very good commodity. They will definitely bounce back with no problem. They're gonna make more waves than Victor and Connor. Remember the Ascension? Does anybody remember the Ascension? We haven't really heard shit. We haven't heard shit since they parted ways with WWE. We haven't heard shit. Last thing I heard about about the Ascension, there was a big event signing that they did. That was the last thing I heard about. Other than that, I haven't heard anything from them. Now, I do think that with a team like them, if I were a betting man, I could see ROH. I could see Impact Wrestling. I could see. I'm not seeing the other pro. I'm not seeing New Japan. I'm not seeing. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But Revival, they're going to do just fine. They're going to do just fine. Shout out to Adrian. Adrian is saying it's 5:30 a.m. where he is, because he's over there in the UK. A very good early morning to you. So, hey, for those of you that's still with me, if you haven't considered being a Patreon member, do be a Patreon member. $5 a month. You can check out bonus audio, video content, exclusive content. You guys can actually help shape the content and what you like to see coming your way as a Patreon member and everything. So check it out. I know right now we're doing an exclusive 30 with Lee series, and we're right now we're reviewing episodes of Better Call Saul for this season. So reminds me, I got to sit down with the missus. We got to record a couple of episodes, because I think we're now about 2 episodes away from the season finale. And Better Call Saul will come back one more season, and that's supposed to put the bookend on the entire series itself. But check it out. You know, you got whole loads of good exclusive audio, video content. Check it out. Patreon.com/RCWR show. $5 a month. Get access to boatload of content. You don't get charged. I got to stress this. You do not get charged $5 per content like some Patreon creators do. We just charge you a one-time $5 a month, and you can check out the content. So check it out, patreon.com/RCWR show. Shout out to Patreon member Sean Kenter. Shout out to Patreon member Justin Rustock. Shout out to Patreon member John Krauser. John, my friend, I hope you are doing well. Hope everything's been okay with you at your end. I see John is putting together some graphics for his upcoming podcast. He's slowly and quietly making the moves. He's getting ready to launch I believe it's a comedy podcast. And shout out to him. Hope that's going well for you. Shout out to John Davis. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to the good folks behind chairshottees.com. You've heard me plug them a lot. Telling you, man, check them out. They got some great shit on their site. If you are into old school wrestling merch, you know, for t-shirts, they got Jake the Snake Roberts over there. Who else they got over there? Jake the Snake Roberts. They've got Bruiser Brody. They've got Terry Funk. They got all kinds of cool shit over there. So check it out when you guys get a chance. Good shit, man. Good shit. Who else? I don't think I'm forgetting anything else. Once again, shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys that tuned in live. All that good stuff. I see some of you guys are going, yeah, gotta check out the Patreon. Again, patreon.com/RCWR show. All right, so at this point, Patreon, y'all are gonna get some exclusive content your way. And then I think Sunday, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do a Wrestling with the Topics free for all. Me and Tammy will be on here, so that should be a fun show. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Monday, for your next RCWR show, Monday I'm seeing, looking at the calendar, Monday will be April the 13th. I will be on as soon as Raw goes off the air. If you notice, we came on live at our regular time this past Monday. Everything's going to be back to normal. Continuing on, well, I'll be live with you guys Monday after Raw goes off the air. So that should be kind. Get at me on social media. You can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And look, I can't stress it enough, especially for those of you, you know, it's great hearing from guys like Purple and I think Jared and everybody else is going to be checking this out on demand on the download and say, hey, been listening for some years now, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I say blah, blah, blah in a nice, respectful way. Look, we got a show Discord. Click on the episode description and it'll take you right into our Discord. So, you know, in between shows, you know, you guys can interact with each other. You know, when I'm available, I can chime in as well. You know, the more interactive we have it in our Discord, which is free, you know, no, I don't have to worry about spyware or anything like that. But the more interactive we have it in our Discord, as far as one day trying to open up like a chat line and we can have people come on live into the show, Discord is how we would definitely be able to do it. You enjoyed this, make sure you hit the like button, share, all that good jazz. And I can't stress it enough. You like what I do, appreciate what I do, Leave the ratings and reviews on iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook. It really helps. All right, guys, that is going to do it. If you're waiting for this audio on demand and on the downloads, I would say I'm going to chill for the rest of the night. I will have the audio uploaded tomorrow afternoon. No, make it tomorrow evening. I'll probably have this be available. Okay, guys? All right, y'all. Much love. And do check out the Patreon. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Until next go around, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. And please, if you can help it, stay the fuck at home. Much love, guys. Appreciate y'all. Thanks.